Alrighty, what's up guys? We have a little bit of a different video similar to one that we did a while back. We're going to be going over some of the recent leaks that have come out for LEGO Star Wars. One specifically today was the Advent Calendar, and then one that was a few days ago was the Mandalorian Forge. So the figure that got me the most excited was this Mandalorian with the scarf. It looks incredibly cool. Of course, it maybe isn't as good as some of the past minifigures we've gotten, but as we scroll by, we do have more photos of what we got, but we'll go photo by photo and go in as we find more in each photo. So on the front cover of the box, it looks like we're going to have just a standard IG-11 or IG-88. Chances say IG-11 though, because it does have the Mandalorian and the child markings in the bottom. Looks like we have a little target. At first on another page, this was sideways and it looked like it was some small pod racer build, but I guess it's just some small target. I bet they're going to be calling this one of the E-Web blaster cannons that was featured in the Mandalorian Season 1 finale, but it is a pretty cool, neat little turret build. It does have some nice pieces, that's for sure. So while it might not stay with my Advent Calendar, those pieces will probably get used elsewhere. A nice little Scout Trooper, standard Scout Trooper. One of the best looking helmet molds, or one of the best looking helmets in Star Wars in my opinion, so I never complain about getting more of those. Tiny little probe droid there, solid little probe droid build, same as probably any other probe droid that's come out in the last few years. Almost mandatory for Advent calendars to have some small droid. It doesn't look bad though. Small little TIE fighter as well. Doesn't look bad. Of course it's incredibly undersized and skinny, but it'll be a fun little thing that isn't like the wacky microfighter scale. Same thing with Moff Gideon's cruiser. They're finally giving us an official miniature Arquitens class cruiser. I've been waiting for a playset version 1, and then now they're giving us a mini version 1. 2 in 1 in 1 year. I'm more than happy with that. And then over here we have a Tusken Raider with some small ballista that of course they threw a stud shooter on top of. Now it doesn't look horrible by any means, but you know, LEGO has to include these stud shooters, has to get these play features in there. I bet if you remove that and replace that with probably a tan 1x2, it would look just fine. But I am excited to get another Tusken Raider. So I didn't point it out on the first page, but there is the little crib that Baby Yoda travels around in, that the child travels in. So we will get a Christmas themed version of that. And as well with that Scout Trooper, it looks like there will be a nice little speeder bike to go with it. And looking real close at Baby Yoda in that small little backpack there, it does look like he's wearing a small little sweater as well. So it looks like those are going to be our 2 little Christmas minifigs this Advent calendar. And then right here, this is why I thought that target was a pod racer, because at first I thought this was some silly little pod racer build, but then I saw the first image and looked right here, and it's of course just a target. Back there you can barely see it, but it looks like a small droid on a cart. We'll get a better view of it in that third image, but it looks like a small droid on just a snowball transport cart. And it looks like a small little Tatooine build, gives the Tusken Raider a weapon, so that's nice that you can at least kit him out alongside his ballista. And this Razor Crest that they're including, if you do notice, it is slightly different than the Razor Crest build we got last year. So it looks like they're updating it just a small bit. I can see that those cannons on the front are now light gray instead of the black little pin pieces that they were last year. And we are getting a miniature Slave 1. I'm incredibly excited for that. I remember when I was younger and I didn't have any Slave 1s. This was around the time when I was like 8, so I built the miniature ones out of spare pieces because it was the easiest ones to make, and those are some of my best highlights, so I can't wait to get a miniature one of those to relive the nostalgia. Going back on this left side, we still see that Stormtrooper we saw in the front half. Another little weapon carrying thing, but of course Christmas colors, got some red, some white in there. It looks good, but of course all of us would rather prefer another little miniature ship or figure. Now there is another Luke's land speeder, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting another one. How many years in a row is this? I don't even know if it's in a row, but how many is this? This one actually looks pretty neat. It's a light blue color. There's a little bit of red on that other side. Maybe it's supposed to be some sort of sleigh, but it does look pretty unique. Of course, it's just another Luke's land speeder, so some people might not be too happy, but at least they gave us a different color. Now right above it, we have classic X-Wing. You can see R2-D2 in there. Classic build, nothing's really changed here. Not too bad, but I'd like some new updates, some new renditions, maybe of some other vehicles as well. So I don't quite know what vehicle this is in the Star Wars universe, if it's not from Star Wars Resistance. It almost looks like that vehicle in episode 2 or 3 of Mando Season 1. I believe it was Season 1 that just got blown up. Like he said Mando's line and then his ship got blown up. So maybe that's what that is, or it's the ship from Star Wars Resistance, but maybe you guys could correct me in the comments. Now we'll head on to the third page and get a much better look at everything. So we have the full overview here. We'll just start in the left and then go down to the right. So starting up in the left, we have that Razor Crest that we saw earlier. There's that unique ship that I wasn't quite able to identify. There's that E-Web blaster cannon, and of course they're using white studs for all these stud shooters to represent snowballs. Here's this small little Tatooine build that gives the Tusken Raider a weapon. Another little weapon carrier, apart from that one we saw earlier, this one looks pretty plain, like it belongs on the Death Star or something. Classic X-Wing build, and then now we have a better look at this land speeder. It actually looks like it's from The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 1. I don't remember the actor's name who did the cameo, but that speeder that they were driving in, I think that's what that's supposed to be. Just to the right of that, we have those targets and the ballista that we saw earlier. And right there, it looks like we have a miniature Imperial troop transport. So just from that tiny image there, I actually really like that build. I can, of course, barely see it, but the Imperial troop transport, from the first time I saw it in Rebels to the new like minifig scale or like playset scale set coming out, I've absolutely loved it across the board, so I can't wait for that. Miniature TIE Fighter we saw, nothing really special there, a mini TIE Fighter. Stormtrooper, Tusken Raider, Scout Trooper. Of course, we went over them earlier. I'll be happy to have these two guys, another Stormtrooper. You know, it's cool, won't complain. New Mando with the scarf, that looks really cool. If you throw like a red cape on him, I haven't thrown a Thor cape on one of my Thor figs yet, so I might save that for the advent calendar and throw it on my Mando. And then here we get into the small little vehicles portion. So we have that completely white speeder bike that we saw. It kind of looks like it belongs on Hoth. That goes with that Scout Trooper earlier. And there's that snowball carrier. It looks like it's piloted by a droid, so it's not any like BB-8 or anything. It's not Dio, thank God. But it is pretty neat. It'd be nice if they gave you just a pound of studs and you just sat it on there. Of course, they'd spill everywhere. Next to that is Moff Gideon's cruiser, or the Arquinan's class light cruiser. Incredibly excited for that. That's going to be a fun little build to swoosh around. As well as the slave one. Looks really good. Looks like they have it rounded off, and they're using those pins much more often on miniature sets, which is really good. And that probe droid, nothing special there. Probe droid. IG-11 or IG-88. Most likely IG-11 because it is the Mandalorian themed kind of advent calendar, so we'll go with that. That weapon carrier, at least this one's a little bit more glamorized than the one up here, but of course it's a weapon carrier, so a lot of people will be a bit unhappy about that. Nice little Baby Yoda slash the child, if the people want to get mad at me for it. Baby Yoda slash the child, now in his red sweater. It looks really good. It's going to pair well with the nice Mando and the nice little crib carrier in the Christmas colors. So overall, the 3 Christmas themed items here are pretty cool. The child, the crib carrier thing, and then the Mandalorian. It all looks really good, and I'm pretty happy with it. Some people will, of course, be pissed because it's not a $700 Dark Trooper or something like that. But overall, I think this is going to be a pretty solid advent calendar. Now, I don't know where to find these official images online on any website anywhere, but I am on the Promobricks Instagram, so if you want to go ahead and go to that page, I have it linked down in the description. It's a great Instagram to follow. They post tons of stuff about every single line of sets. It's not specifically Star Wars, it goes Technic, it goes everything. So if you guys want to follow them down in the description below. So still here on the Promobricks Instagram, we're going to be taking a look at the Mandalorian Forge. Now, these images were actually leaked. These aren't like any official photos that came out, so they are pretty blurry, so you won't be able to see it too well, especially since I'm adding in a little bit of zoom. But we're going to try and get the best look we can. Now, this is the first time that we're getting Mando with his jetpack, but it does take away his cape, which some people will be kind of sad to hear, but I know me and one of my friends are going to be kind of happy to finally get a jetpack. And then as well, Paz Vizsla. I've wanted that in a Lego minifigure since we all saw him in Season 1. Incredibly cool. And we all know there was a little bit of drama about the Armorer and how it's a reused mold. I don't mind that it's a reused mold, but I will agree with most people that the print on the helmet is a little bit too low. It sits a little bit too low, but I don't think it'll be too bad. I might just throw some nice little shoulder pads on her and call it a day. I wish we could get a better look at these minifigures. Paz Vizsla looks like he has some sort of backpack to go with that big cannon that he was carrying. And the Forge looks really good. Some nice blue flame pieces. They really built it up. They put some detail in here. It is unfortunate that this big Technic piece is just sitting out in the open. I'll probably just try and cover that up if I get this set. The exterior wall and the details back there, though, it looks like we might have some extra helmet back there that we could toss on our figures. A nice Clan Vizsla sticker, probably. I doubt that that's printed piece up there. But all these extra details going around the side and around the rear area looks really good. Nice minifig weapon holder right there. So I wish it were a little bit more full, maybe with an extra wall going on this side. And I wish this Technic arm wasn't as visible and they tried to hide it. But I'm pretty sure this set is a minifigure set for the most part. And especially a spare pieces set. Like I see some nice sloping pieces I could use on some ships. Some nice other detail pieces I could use in there. So mainly I think for a lot of people this is going to be a minifigure set. But those are the 2 little sets that I want to go over today. Those are the most recent Star Wars leaks that we had to go over. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and let me know down in the comments if you're excited for this advent calendar, if you think this selection that they're giving us this year is going to be any good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. Peace, fellas.